As long as the Biden administration keeps in place catch and release, he could send 1,500 troops, he could send 10,000 troops, he could send 100,000 troops.
Yet another example of a double standard where Republican lawmakers who are demanding the Biden administration get real tough at the southern border are never satisfied, even as Biden earlier this week announced that he will be sending 1,500 active duty troops and National Guard members to the southern border ahead of the expiration of Title 42. Now, of course, Title 42 was a directive that started under the Trump administration and essentially sealed the southern border, did not allow for asylum seekers to make their case for asylum. And the argument was, well, we're dealing with an emergency here. Coronavirus is a real threat. We want to stop the spread of coronavirus, so we're gonna seal the border. Well, Biden comes into office and he kind of likes it and let Title 42 remain in place. Then when he was about to repeal it, all of a sudden Republican lawmakers freaked out about it and challenged him on the issue. And the Supreme Court decided to allow Title 42 to remain in place, but it's about to expire soon. So Biden is concerned about the Border Patrol agents being overrun by what is expected to be a huge influx of asylum seekers coming to the border. And he decided that the right way to solve this problem is to send the troops. Well, remember, Trump sent troops to the border and was applauded for that back in 2018. Republicans are speaking a little bit of a different tune here. So with that said, why don't we go to the next video to kind of see what I'm talking about.
Under Joe Biden, the 1,500 troops he's sending will accomplish nothing to secure the border, and they're not designed to, and here's why. The troops on the border are beneficial if you have a policy that when you apprehend someone, you deport them. Then the troops on the border are helpful for apprehending people coming across. As long as the Biden administration keeps in place catch and release, he could send 1,500 troops, he could send 10,000 troops, he could send 100,000 troops. It would do nothing to secure the border. Why? Because every illegal immigrant they encounter, they would hand over to the Biden administration, and the Biden administration would let them go.
So I gotta give you guys some more context before I go to you, Cenk, because understand that what Biden is doing is he is literally following the law. Now, if the Republican lawmakers don't like our immigration laws, they could actually, do their jobs and engage with Democrats to pass policy, comprehensive immigration reform, but they failed to do that. So the idea that Biden should use the troops, active duty military, to round up asylum seekers and immediately deport them before they can even make a case is insane. Okay, we have laws. Asylum seekers who enter the country through ports of entry must have their day in front of an immigration judge who will make a determination as to whether or not they should be allowed into the country as asylum seekers, okay? We have a shortage of judges, which is why there's a massive backlog of asylum seekers. And by the way, Biden keeps playing this game with Republicans. He's doing their bidding. So one example is, before, if asylum seekers came into the country illegally, they would still get their day in front of an asylum judge, but not anymore. Biden has decided that if they do that, they're immediately deported. But if they enter through ports of entry, they have to have their case heard, unless you change the laws. But Republicans don't want to do anything, right? They don't want any compromise. They don't want a pathway to citizenship for folks who are already here. It's just so stupid. All of it is stupid. Biden pandering to Republicans is stupid. Republicans pretending like they don't know how this process works is stupid. It's incredibly frustrating.
So Anna's right. The military doing policing inside the United States is both illegal and unconstitutional. So there's no way that it could be done. That's why it's always theater. It's theater when Biden does it. It's theater when Trump does it. Although Trump would push the law, and if he could, he would have them do policing here. But there's other reasons, there's other factors that stop him from doing that, okay? So why does Biden do it if he knows it's kind of useless? He can send 1,500 non-troops there. And by the way, they might actually be able to do policing if they aren't United States military. So why does he do this? For theater. So he could say, look at me, I'm Republican light. The world's worst political strategy. So then, did it appease Republicans? It's impossible to appease Republicans. Ted Cruz just told you, I don't care if you send 100,000 troops to the border. I don't care if there's a troop that covers every single part of the border and not one person comes through. I don't care. I'm gonna criticize you just the same either way. Because what do you think? Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham are gonna go, oh, good point, Joe Biden. You know what? Now we agree with you. Now that you've done what we asked you to do, we're not gonna move the goalposts at all. And we now are gonna tell everybody Joe Biden should get credit. Is that what you expected? No, okay, no one could expect that. Even Biden isn't that challenged, okay? So what they're trying to do is peel off a tiny percentage of Republican voters in the suburbs. They think, oh my God, if we're really tough on immigration, they'll ignore everything else and vote for us. That's a strategy that has never worked. It has never, ever, ever worked. And yet they still go straight into this. And what does it do? It costs you tons of votes in your base. Because you told your base for 4 straight years, look at this monster Trump sending troops to the border. We would never do that, he's such a bad guy. And now you do it and they go, oh, screw it, what did I vote against Trump for? Because remember, nobody voted for Biden, everybody voted against Trump.
Exactly.
And then when you do the same things Trump did, what do you think is gonna happen?
Exactly.
They're gonna lose all the energy and incentive to vote for you. You're gonna cost yourself millions of votes trying to get 7 votes in the Republican suburbs.
No, that's exactly right. And that is, in my opinion, precisely the reason why you're worried about a matchup between Trump and Biden in 2024, because the Democratic establishment feels super confident in Biden being able to beat Trump. But what is Biden gonna fearmonger about when he has implemented or extended many of the policies that we hated from the Trump administration, including the theater of sending active duty military to our southern border? By the way, speaking of Senator Lindsey Graham, he had a very similar line. He referred to Biden's efforts as ridiculous theater. And when a reporter asked, well, what about the double standard here? You seem to be happy with Trump sending troops to the border. Let's see how Lindsey Graham responded to that question.
Did you feel the same about it being theater when Trump sent troops to the border in 2018?
I feel that Donald Trump did the best job in my political lifetime. When Donald Trump did something, it worked. Everything he did, as Ted suggested, worked. The triangle agreement with the 3 Northern Triangle countries where they would process asylum claims took the problem off the table.
So one thing that Trump did that Biden is not gonna do is he had active duty military literally block legal ports of entry, so asylum seekers had no way of seeking asylum. That is what he did. So I'm guessing that's what Lindsey Graham is referring to, but of course he's not gonna be upfront and honest and state exactly what Trump did differently, which, by the way, blocking them means that you are going against what the current federal laws are as they pertain to asylum seekers and immigration. With that said, I wanna have a little bit of fun because literally, a week prior to that, on April 27th, Trump was doing a rally and he slapped down Lindsey Graham in front of the crowd. Let's watch.
Lindsey Graham, the progressive from South Carolina. No, he's a progressive, but he's got some good things too.
Man, what kind of dirt does Trump have on Lindsey Graham? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, look, calling Lindsey Graham pathetic is too easy.
It is.
Right? So Donald Trump slaps him with the back of his hand, it's just like, it's an extra insult, right? Like, look at this left-winger progressive, and then he gets the whole crowd to boo him and stuff. And Lindsey Graham, like the little sniveling snail that he is, he's like, hey. This is after Trump already bitch slapped him with the back of his hand, okay?
No.
Lindsey Graham's, my favorite part of this whole video was when they asked him the question that busts him on his hypocrisy about hey, didn't Trump do the same thing? Look at Ted Cruz's face as he hears the good question. He's looking down and he's nervous. And he's like, oh no, that's a good question. What are we gonna do, right? And when Lindsey Graham pauses and goes, well, Donald Trump's just the greatest president ever, right? Ted Cruz is like, yeah, okay, good answer, good enough, that'll distract them. He did the greatest job. the greatest job. So that way I didn't answer the question, I just said something totally irrelevant. Okay, but hey, if you're a lib who watches MSNBC and you're super excited that we caught the Republicans in a moment of hypocrisy, well, the same goes for Biden and all of his supporters. So why was it terrible when Trump did it and awesome when Biden does it? When it's the same exact thing.
Exactly.
So now your turn to put your eyes down and pretend that it wasn't a good question. No, when they do the same thing, it's equally bad, even if their name has a D after it. And also the one last giant political mistake from Biden on this same issue is now when you do the same thing as Trump, you now cannot criticize him ever again on that issue.
But he will. That's the thing.
No, I don't even think he will. I think Joy Reid will on MSNBC, and she won't tell her audience that Biden did the same thing.
Oh, for sure.
Right,
yeah.
and I just picked Joy's name out of a hat, but just almost everybody on MSNBC will do that. But Biden himself wouldn't attack a Republican if his life depended on it anyway. So I guess you're not losing much because he wasn't going to attack him in the first place. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.